Hello?
Behind you. Don't look at them.
Time flies faster than light, and it's hard for me to believe that we are already at the end of 2024, yet here we are counting the last days of this year, before it fades away forever. For gamers like us, years are usually measured by the quality of games that were released in them, and how many options we had in our gaming libraries. However, for horror fans, things are even more specific, because we focus a lot on what horror games we got to play this year and whether our horror appetite was satisfied or not. So I think December is the best time to reflect on the last 12 months and see what horror games were really worth our time more than others. Even though this year is not equal to the insane releases we had back in 2023, there are still so many great titles in it that stand out and give us a decent amount of spooks, mystery, and exceptional stories. This includes breathtaking AAA games that we spent years waiting for, and also surprising indie games that managed to steal the spotlight on multiple occasions by giving us a well-crafted experience both psychologically and visually. So in this video, I decided to list some of the horror games that truly got stuck in my mind this year, and I feel like they are a worthy addition to our gaming library forever. Games that defined this year for me and made it memorable one way or another. So without further ado, let's start. For some reason, I feel like this game didn't get the attention it deserves, even though it's probably the closest thing possible to Alien Isolation. The game is inspired by an actual movie with the same name, and it combines stealth, resource management, and very intense moments as you try to survive while civilization is being destroyed. However, the game's most unique mechanic is definitely the microphone noise detection, which means that monsters here can literally hear every noise you make and every word you say if your microphone is working. The sensitivity in this part is so freaking insane because the monsters hear everything, even if it's not loud. This reminds me of the crazy moments we had with Alien Isolation, which explains why it's considered one of the most stressful games ever. This game is not necessarily the same, but it's still a good option in that specific category. The worst thing you can do when choosing which horror games to play is judging them by how they look on the outside. And this is exactly the case with Conscript. The concept in the game is disturbing by default because it focuses on the harsh realities of war while using classic survivor horror mechanics like resource management, puzzles, and atmospheric tension. But the catch is that all of this is from a unique camera perspective. The protagonist here is a French soldier searching for his brother, but as he does so, things become more and more nightmarish, with historical realism and a special pixel art style. You need to explore and find items and tools, but the combat is deliberately clunky to make your survival even more challenging. The puzzles are also very deep and sophisticated, but at the end of the day, the atmosphere here is the answer. Because don't ever think that this game is not psychologically scary. The visuals are extremely oppressive, and the sound design can be insanely unsettling in certain areas. So yeah, this title definitely deserves to be on the list.
And I, to my pledged word, am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous.
You're infected just like all the others.
I'm not. Put your weapon down.
No way. I'm not going anywhere.
Do you have any idea what's going on out there?
If you are someone who was invested in horror gaming back in the 2000s, there's no way you didn't hear about The Thing. And if you didn't know about the game, you probably know the movie from 1982. But even if you're not familiar with it, then I have good news for you, because the game came back after more than 20 years with a remastered version that actually gives me insane nostalgia. Anyway, to keep it short, the game follows Captain Blake, a special forces leader from US, as he investigates the aftermath of very mysterious events on a frozen island. You must navigate a harsh environment filled with shape-shifting aliens, using a unique trust-fear system that influences team dynamics and cooperation. This system means that your partners need to trust you in order to help you with stuff like sharing weapons or providing medical assistance. It's really a very clever concept that I wish to see more in modern games. Besides that, the visuals here are incredibly enhanced, which means that the atmosphere is also designed to be creepier than before, to suit modern standards. So, to summarize, The Thing is an amazing combination of action, psychological horror, and a story that's worth going through. Alan Wake 2 was one of the most special horror games last year, but what's even better is that it made a comeback in 2024 with a very exciting expansion. In this DLC, you play as a special agent who is dispatched to investigate a very suspicious facility following a disaster, which is similar to The Thing to a certain extent. The facility was established to study the paranatural effects of the lake and the dark presence. And if you are familiar with Alan Wake in general, you know that the lake is basically a portal to another dimension, and the dark presence is a malevolent force that resides in the area. The expansion technically runs parallel to the events of the main game, offering a fresh perspective on the unfolding narrative. You will encounter new enemy types and gain access to some powerful new weapons that make you feel like you're in a completely different game.
That's not entirely true. There was that whole serial killer thing.
Why do you hate Cedar Hill so much? You used to be like town mascot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present The Mill.
This game is a worthy experience for people who love games that combine elements of investigation, true crime, and also movie-like gameplay, where your choices decide the outcome. The story is set in the summer of 1980 in Cedar Hills, Oregon, and the game is about 4 aspiring filmmakers who venture into a sinister steel mill to shoot a horror movie about an infamous serial killer. The narrative is mainly revealed through a branching storyline, environmental puzzles, and quick-time events. Because, as I said, your decisions matter a lot. The game features a shadowy antagonist whose identity and motives are revealed as the story progresses. This figure stalks the protagonists, making you feel haunted all the time. So even though this game has some notable flaws, it's still an experience that caught enough eyeballs this year.
mainland will continue to burn and collapse.
For PC gamers, Stalker is no stranger to the memory because it's one of those games that's not well known in general but also very popular among people who admire this special type of survival horror. The game is set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which is a highly irradiated and mysterious area, following an explosion at a nuclear power plant. This event has created anomalies, mutants, and unique phenomena, turning the zone into a dangerous yet intriguing place for brave people known as stalkers. The immersive part is that you must manage hunger, sleep, radiation, and health as if you are surviving in real life. Besides that, the story is non-linear and your actions have a huge impact on the narrative and the zone's factions. The enemies are smart and you need to change your tactics between the daytime and night. There's a decent amount of bugs and glitches in the game, just like every other Stalker experience. But overall, it's still a very special release in 2024. If we are talking about the best indie horror games in 2024, then Still Wakes the Deep has to be on top of the list, because it managed to catch so many eyeballs for all the right reasons. This game is set on an oil rig in the North Sea during Christmas in 1975, which is in my opinion a perfect setting and a perfect timeline for a scary story. The environment here is isolated and insanely claustrophobic, but it gets worse when a very dangerous natural disaster strikes. As a result, the protagonist, who is a regular worker, must navigate the collapsing rig, confront unknown horrors, and fight to save his crew while enduring suffocating and life-threatening conditions. I mean, if you are scared of closed spaces, the ocean, and the darkness, then this game is a nightmare for you, because it really uses all these elements in a freaking terrifying way. The game avoids combat and focuses on survival and exploration. You must climb, sneak, and traverse dangerous areas while evading a relentless enemy that you don't even know its identity. The oil rig itself evolves dynamically during the game, with parts of it becoming flooded or destroyed, intensifying the tension as the story progresses. So trust me, my friend, if you enjoy horror in the middle of the ocean, this is a game that will scare you one way or another, whether with its atmosphere or stealth mechanics. Pacific Drive is a horror experience like no other. In this bizarre game, you find yourself in a vast, government-sealed area filled with creepy anomalies and environmental hazards. The isolation, unknown dangers, and desolate landscapes evoke feelings of dread and paranoia. But that's not the reason this game is unique. What makes it unique is the fact that the car literally serves as your main tool of survival and basically the only way to remain safe. The catch, however, is that it's not invincible. Breakdowns, damage, and fuel shortages can leave you helpless in the middle of nowhere. So you need to scavenge for parts and upgrade your vehicle because your survival depends on keeping it operational. This concept is so realistic, and it makes you feel like you must think as if you are a real driver in real life, who's using a car for transportation and shelter at the same time. which means you need to take care of it as if your life depends on it. This is why I had to add this game to the list as one of the best releases this year.
Would it really be that bad?
Classic horror games are more popular than ever in 2024 because everyone agrees that horror had some kind of spooky touch in the past that you can't find in modern titles. However, Hollow Body is a modern game that's designed to bring the classic vibe back to life by replicating the PS2 style that terrified us decades ago. The setting here is a dystopian near future where you assume the role of Mika, a freelance delivery pilot who becomes stranded in the ruins of a desolate British city. With her vehicle destroyed and no means of escape, Mika must explore the eerie place while uncovering its dark secrets behind its nightmarish ambience. The visuals look very similar to Silent Hill 2 from 2001, and the gameplay mechanics are not far away either. The combat is clunky and the movements are a little bit slow while fighting, but that's intentional because the point is to make your survival feel like a pain in the butt. You need to carefully choose when to engage or avoid the mysterious threats lurking in the shadows, especially because ammunition and healing items are very limited. So if you are a fan of slow-burning atmospheric horror with a retro vibe, Hollow Body is a must-play title in 2024.
I'm sorry. Mary, you know, isn't here.
There's no way you didn't expect that the first spot would be for Silent Hill 2 Remake. Because if we are being honest, 2024 without this game can't be a memorable year for horror fans in any sense. This experience is more than just remaking an old game. It's basically about reimagining the story and the setting with a modern touch that has its own influence and charm. First of all, the atmosphere in the town is something you probably can never go through except in this game. The fog is extremely well designed to create a suffocating sense of loneliness and isolation, making the town feel hauntingly empty yet alive with unseen threats that you know nothing about. This amplifies fear of the unknown, but most importantly, it forces you to remain in a constant state of confusion because you don't even know if what you're seeing is real or not. Besides that, the advanced audio technology delivers 3D soundscapes, making every creak, whisper, and distant noise a source of dread no matter where you are. Whether you are in the streets, in the apartments, or in the hospital, there's always a mysterious sound that you can hear, but you don't know its source. These elements are very important because, in case you don't know, they are meant to reflect James's psyche and mental state. The purpose of the fog is to highlight his feelings of uncertainty and distraction, while the sounds are designed to reflect his obsession and bipolar disorder.
Park on the lake. We spent the whole day there.
And as I said in previous videos, Silent Hill Town is not just a location that you go through. It's also a type of character that changes and engages with you in different phases of the journey. This is also apparent with the fog itself. Sometimes it gives you hope that there's some light and the answers at the end of the way. But in other times, it intensifies even further to make you feel even more lost and helpless. All these sentiments are insanely more vibrant and realistic in the remake, especially when you focus on James himself. He is an average young man searching for his wife after receiving a letter from her, where she invites him to a special place in Silent Hill, despite her demise 3 years ago. This bizarre plot is the first element that shows us the desperation inside James's mind. His guilt over his own actions in the past is so overwhelming that he has repressed his own memory to convince himself that Mary is somehow alive and waiting for him.
Mary?
James! Where are you? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. Please, come to me.
The remake does an incredible job showing his painful psychology and how he's going insane as the story progresses. The voice acting is very deep and precise, going hand in hand with his emotions across his journey. The actor Luke Roberts made James look like the normal dude he actually is, while highlighting his madness, innocence, and helplessness at the same time. However, the remake doesn't only show this with James. It also uses the same formula to show the other characters in a similar, sophisticated way. The tragic story of Angela and the disturbing history of Eddie are more sensitive here even than the original. The modern visuals of their facial expression take their personality to a whole new level, making them seem like primary characters in their own stories.
Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what?
With that being said, let's not forget the remake's innovations when it comes to combat and movements. Even though Silent Hill 2 was never about smooth combat and controls, the remake delivers a balanced formula of convenient fighting mechanics while keeping that sense of struggle alive. Here and there, the camera angles are also very flexible in helping you observe your surroundings easily and freely, especially because the environment is never silent or motionless. There's always something happening. So yeah, this remake is really worth the hype.
You can't just kill someone because the way they looked at you.
You should see your face, James. I was just joking.
Anyway guys, this is all I have for today. The 10 horror games I listed in this video are truly the ones that I really believe deserve to be highlighted in 2024. There are other good titles here and there, but for me I didn't feel they're memorable enough to make this year special. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it and tell me in the comments about your own choices and which games you think I missed. See you in the next one.